What's going on? Welcome to another episode of Forward Thinking Leaders. I'm your host, Mike. Let's get into it.
You're alive in us. We're alive in you.
So today I'm really excited about our topic. Today we're going to be talking about these 4 words. Always give your best. One more time. Always give your best. I'm joined by one of my main men here, Ben Jones. Ben, how's it going?
Man, I'm doing good. Hey, always give your best, man. This can be some good stuff today.
Yeah, I think we're going to unpack some really good content here, hopefully. And, you know, as we talk about these things, the really cool thing is I always learn something from it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been doing this with you a few times now, and it's always something where you say something, I'm like, oh, I didn't think about that ahead of time.
Yeah, no, same, man. It's like those little tidbits of information or maybe a phrase or something that kind of resonates with you, and you can definitely apply it to your life.
Awesome. I love it. Well, I mean, the general idea behind this is that anything worth doing is worth doing well. And I gotta be honest, I get irritated when I'm a part of a team or something, and you can just tell that some people are just not invested. They're just not interested. They're not going to give their all, you know. And I work in a very community-oriented place, right? Aside the church as well, but even in just other job I have, it's like you rely on a team to get something done. And when one part of the body, you know, true to Scripture, when one part of the body doesn't do what it's supposed to do, doesn't function as it's supposed to function, everyone suffers.
Yeah, no, that's very true, man. And it's just so many angles and vantage points that we can kind of get into this. But the biggest thing is what you just said. You know, we're a body in terms of Christ, right? We're a body of Christ, and it's all about everybody doing their part and doing the best that they can absolutely do, for sure.
Yeah, it's the old adage, team, right? Together, everyone accomplishes more. You know,
Look at that right there.
You started seeing it on the shipping boxes at a hardware store I used to work at. But it's truth.
I'm using it.
Yeah. Team, together, everyone accomplishes more. So I'll start first before I pass it over to you. You know, I think one thing that's really important to me and that I've really learned through trial and error, you know, everything that we talk about here, we didn't figure it out just because we're smart. We figured it out usually because we failed or because we, you know, we made a mistake somewhere along the line.
True.
And we were, you know, able to adjust and to learn and to move on from it. So, I mean, there's a whole book by Maxwell called Failing Forward, which I just love. It's about just living and learning and you know, not repeating the mistakes again. But that's a topic for another day.
Love it.
But the thing I want to start with is, you know, just as a Christ follower, you know, it's really important to me that everything I do is unto Him. And it doesn't matter if it's within the church walls, or it's probably more important outside the church walls. It doesn't matter if I'm on the clergy clock, you know, as a pastor, or if I'm on, you know, some other clock in my vocational work or whatever.
That's it.
Yeah, I feel like, and I believe that we are supposed to be ourselves. I am one person. I'm not one person here on Sunday mornings. I'm not another person there on Monday mornings. You know, I am who I am. And so if I'm supposed to always give my best, you know, I'm supposed to do it at work. I'm supposed to do it especially at home, you know, as a husband and father. I'm sure that my wife and kids could come up here on this podcast and tell you times that I failed. There's no doubt about that. You know, that's what we go through. But, you know, just as my driving force, I've learned really that I just need to be one person everywhere I'm at. Because who has time to live a lie? I mean, honestly, who has time to live a lie? You start with one small falsehood in an area of your life or with a certain group of people. And then the first thing is you forget about it. You can't keep track of all that, you know? That's why
That is so true.
One person in my life said, you know, if you just tell the truth, you don't have to worry about covering your tracks all the time.
There it is.
It's just truth, right?
That is so true.
Yeah, and so I've just, you know, I've failed at this. There's been things I've not been interested in that I didn't give my best. I didn't really put forth the effort I should have. And ultimately, I realized that if I don't pay for it, it's almost worse, because if I don't pay for it, that means for sure someone else is going to pay for it.
Man, that is so huge. I mean, Mike, you just jumped like straight into it. You're not wasting any time right now.
Now,
I feel like the same thing, man, right? So you think about it. When I think about giving my best, it is all about who you're representing as well, right? When I'm giving my best, it's because I want to represent well whatever I'm representing. And you think about it like this in the Bible, it talks about while we were yet sinners, Christ died. So why would God give His best while we, right, are at our worst? And it's not just because of who we are, right? Like there's this kind of transactional relationship. It's because of who he sees us as, right? Because in ourselves, we feel worthless or whatever, right? If you think about your past and things that you've come from and maybe some failures or whatever it is, you may see yourself in a way that is less becoming of who you truly are. But it's the fact that Christ, I decided to love you. God the Father decided to love you. And it's not just enough to give you what you think is enough. That's how, when I hear that, this is what I think about. I think about, man, if God the Father could give his best and I'm representing him, it's not my boss that I'm just trying to respect, and it's with him in mind, because maybe that relationship with the boss, maybe he's not the easiest boss to serve under, or whatever the case may be. The biggest thing is, like, while I'm with my boss or my family or neighbors or whatever it is, I'm always representing Christ, and I want people to know that when Benjamin gives his best, despite what it is, unconditionally, when I'm giving my best, I'm representing someone else.
That's right. And one thing I can share about this as my own journey and kind of struggle along the way. Andrea is my wife. She would always say, "Man, Mike, you come to life on a stage," and I always have. I don't know why, but like we would be practicing a dance or something, just something goofy, and I'd just be learning the moves. But as soon as I was on the stage, as soon as it was, game time, and, I would come to life, and I would add all these different gestures and stuff, and people would be laughing. Andrea, she couldn't really understand it because she's like, you don't do that in practice, you don't do that in other things, but you do it on the stage. You come to life, and just things I've learned is that my problem was I would not come to life on Monday morning, right? So I would be, let's just get generic here. I'd be cleaning a bathroom on Monday morning, not coming to life, not giving my best, not really thinking of it as important as the Sunday morning up on a stage, which,
Huge.
we know it isn't true, like in our heart, or our head or whatever, but sometimes we don't know it's not true. Sometimes we really do feel like certain things are more important than others. But now that I'm getting close to 40, there's been plenty of times in my life when I was really giving my best to something and I thought nobody was watching.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm telling you, I thought nobody noticed. I thought nobody saw me. I was giving my best just because I knew it was the right thing to do. And sure enough, somebody would have come up and be like, "Man, I saw that. That was good." Or "I saw the way that you did that the other day, and you probably thought no one was watching. But man, I just want to tell you, you did a great job."
Yes, man. Yes. No, that's so huge, dude. Like, I'm thinking about how powerful that is. Let me ask you a question. Would you say that when it was just like you being on stage and not on Monday morning, are you saying that it was a focus issue, or like, why wasn't it there at first? What was happening?
I think, to be honest, for me, it was meeting the expectations of the people or the crowd. It was meeting the expectations. Like, I was in the Philippines for almost 14 years, and they love to have fun. Even in church, they're having fun. So when I go up on stage and they would do things like a goofy dance and stuff, right? You'd never catch me doing it in a leaders meeting or anything like that. You just wouldn't.
Yeah.
But on the Sunday morning, and everyone's there, and I think it was maybe the pressure or just the expectation to just help everyone have a good time in that moment. That kind of compelled me to do it,
Yeah.
But it was always well received.
Yeah.
And so when no one was looking, I guess if I just unpack this a little bit, I didn't have that same pressure. I didn't feel that same pressure to perform at the same level, But that's really where character and integrity come in, right? You are who you are when no one is looking, and that's just a fact.
Yeah. No, that's good, man. That's good. When I think about this topic, man, I got a 3-year-old, I got a 1-year-old, and when I think about this, man, it's real interesting because I think about my kids, and V and I have these conversations all the time. You'll see these kids who, these babies, right, daycare, who have on like these clothes that are like super expensive, you know what I mean? Like
Little Jordan
the
shoes.
little Jordans and all this stuff. And it's like, you could put them in that, right? It's super expensive. Or you could literally wrap them in a towel and like put a pin in it and they'll be fine. They don't care. And so it's just like, why are you going above and beyond? It's not because of what they can comprehend or understand. It's the worth and the value you're adding to them. It's how you feel about them. Not that they're reciprocating it or that they're even thinking about it. And so when I think about giving my best, in terms of serving people and doing community with people, it's a love, and it's actually God's love that we are adding to them. It's a worth that we're adding to them based off who we represent. Here's another really quick example. You go to a restaurant because you're hungry, and you get like the salmon and the whatever, and then there's also like this fancy garnish on the plate. It's just like, why is this even here? You know, I mean, you're not gonna eat it. It's like it's in the way or whatever. But the big deal is that, you know, it's the value that they're adding. It's not for you necessarily, but we want to show that we have a certain pride in a sense, right? In the good way. We have a certain pride in how we serve, right? It's like, yeah, you would have just took some food that was like on a bucket or something maybe, but it's just who we are, and we want to show that. We want to represent our company well, and it's the same type of love that God has given us, and I just believe it's the love that we're supposed to be exemplifying, you know, for the people.
Yeah, and you know, another thing that I've noticed for myself is that when we're giving our best, it's easier for me to give my best to people I don't know as well than it is for me to give my best to people I do know well.
Mike, hold on, man. Hold on. That is deep, man. What?
Think about it, though.
God.
So, and I've been thinking about this for a while now, and I think, again, for me, it comes to the pressures. So I feel like I need to hit a certain level when I'm dealing with people I don't know, just for my testimony, so that they'll like me, you know, for whatever reason.
So, man.
And so you give all this emotional energy out during the day to whoever, you know, some stranger you may never see again. But then I get home to what should be a safe space, not only for me, but a safe space for my family and my kids. And I'm emotionally tapped out. Like I'm tired. You know, I'm done for the day. And I don't want to have patience anymore with my son. I don't want to, you know, have to listen to a 20-minute story that could be condensed to 30 seconds, you know. It's like it's gone. You know, and giving my best to my family has been my challenge. And I openly talk about this. You know, I preach about it on Sundays sometimes. You know, it's just been my challenge. And it's one that hopefully I've risen to. Hopefully I've gotten better at. I think I have. But just trying to to reserve some of that emotional energy, you know, that I need to come home and give my family my best as well.
So wait. So I'm interested in how you remedy that, or just some things that you've done to make that situation better, or just how do you approach that?
The first thing is awareness. I had to become aware of it. I had to accept it, which is hard because, you know, I pride myself as a good father, as a good husband, right? For whatever reason, but that doesn't mean I can't improve. And so once I was able to kind of humble myself and realize that I'm not as good of a father or husband as I ought to be, there's still room for me to grow. So I became aware of it. And then I try to create a little bit more margin in my schedule. And margin is hard. That'll be a topic we cover a different day, because creating margin is so important. It's what creates a space for God to move in and through us when we have that margin. But for my family, creating a little bit of margin, you know, more than I had, and just trying to be there for my kids' school events and their sporting events, and trying to be there when I get home. I work a full-time job as well, and when I get home, man, I'm tapped out sometimes.
Yeah.
But I'm really working on coming home refreshed. Whether that means I listen to some good, you know, inspirational Christian music on the ride home, or something to just kind of get me back into that mood and reset, so I have the same emotional energy and care for those closest to me as I do for people I don't even know that well.
I think one of the things that you're bringing out, which is like really important to hold on to, is that, you know, there's a difference between method and motive, because your motive, what motivates you, is being a good father and being a good husband. And we can get stuck there, right? But what you're really confronting is the method. And what you're saying is that our method can always be improving. Motives can be improved as well. But I think what you're saying more than anything else is that, you know, like you said, I pride myself on being a good husband, a good father. I feel the same way. But I have to be able to update the method.
Yeah.
I think is what you're saying. And I think, man, that is huge, man.
That's a good point. You know, I didn't think of it that way before, but my kids have gotten older, and as they've gotten older, their needs have changed. So maybe before, just sitting next to them, you know, watching a show was enough for that stage. But as they get older and now they want to start talking about things, and that, that's a good point for me, you know, in understanding that the method should change. There's a verse that comes to mind out of Proverbs 13:4. Lazy people want much but get little, but those who work hard will prosper. Now, it's easy to think about this in terms of, financial wellness and stuff like that. But let's just say for my family, like I want my kids to change the world. I just do. I want them to be history makers, world changers. And if I'm lazy in my relationship with them, which I am at times, I'm working on it. If I'm lazy in my relationship with them, like I want much, but without investing God's love and character and his words into their lives, I'm going to get little, but if I take the time now and again, baby steps getting better, to invest in them and to give the best in them, then hopefully that hard work will prosper.
Man, that is huge. That is huge, man. No, I'm in all rights. I'm taking notes in my mind and everything because, again, like I said, this is something that I think is worthwhile for all of us to consider because, again, most of us, and I'm talking about myself, right? In some cases, you know your motive is right, and so you think that's enough. But it's what you said. I mean, I think about it like as the seasons change. When you are prepared to go outside in the summer, that looks different than when you're prepared in the winter.
That's right.
Right? And so it's the method that has to constantly be changing, and the motive stays the same. And again, like I said, sometimes the motive even changes, but it's just knowing that things have to change. Love the analogy with your children. Like they get older, that's perfect. That's right.
Yeah, that worked out well. People are going to think that we talk about and map out this whole conversation before we sit down.
Dude, no.
It doesn't happen.
More organic, man. This is just like from the heart. I love it.
We're going to close up in a second. I think you had a verse from Deuteronomy. Did you want to?
I did, man. Let me read this real quick, man, because it kind of goes like right in line with what we've been talking about, right?
Yeah, I think
and
so.
It says, you shall love the Lord God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength, right? And that means that you're totally fixated, like you are fully persuaded. You're giving everything that you have. I love what David said when he was talking about the threshing floor. He said, how can I give God something that costs me nothing, right? Ooh. And so it's this idea where I want to push it to the limit. I want to, and the reason why I'm doing it is because of the value that I hold in my heart for said thing, right? And so
I love it. So remember, anything worth doing is worth doing to your best. Always give your best. That's the message for today, especially if you think no one is watching. I mean, that is the ideal time. That's when our character comes up to give our best. But until next time, thanks to Ben for hanging out once again. Love it. Regular contributor. You're going to see him a lot more.
I love it.
Look for him on Spotify and different things. Benjamin J. Jones. And to bring us out, let's just hear a little bit of Staying Alive in You.
We're alive in you.